I know you're all about the martial arts journey and everything, so getting to fight, rematch a guy in this scenario all these years later, is that like a fun thing for you to kind of see your growth and your development over the years?
Yeah, man. It's business. That's all it is. Listen, fighting is about whoever's left standing, nothing else. There was a moment in my past. He capitalized on it. He had a different route to get to where he is. He became world champ, had a few success. I had a separate route as well. I became the ultimate guy in the Ultimate Fighter. And, it's a story. And somehow we ended up right kind of where we need to be. So it's business.
Is this something you thought would ever happen?
In the back of my head, I knew, at some point I would, fight him. He's a name, I guess. Of course, when I got the word for it, I was like, he's kind of behind me, and I'm trying to look at the whole business aspect of going forward. There's guys that I want, because I like to fight people that bring the best out of me. And of course, that's never the case. It's like either, the staff's like, yeah, no, we ain't giving you that fight. And I was like, all right, and what do you got? Well, we got this guy. And I was like, oh, shit. So you got to make a statement when you go out there. So it's a hit and miss. I wanted Till for a while. I wanted to beat his ass, but you got to earn him, I guess, But it is what it is, man. He's what is he? He's my age, and, I'm not going to look at his last performance and just use that. I know his threat. He knows mine, and it's just an opportunity for both of us.
When it got delayed last time, was this just kind of like, again, all good? Are you just used to the stuff by now? It probably just rolls right off your shoulder.
Man, what a lot of people don't know is if I can even go back to last year, which to me, this is even more of a story. With the pandemic and everything, I was in Dallas for a while, just training because, Coach Safe was like, all right, I want you to stay out here, stay active. I lived in Vegas, so my house is in Vegas. I had to go to Dallas, and I'm paying over there in Vegas. I'm paying over here in Dallas. I remember at one point I had to dip into savings. I'm like, I don't want to stop that momentum. So I had to stay in Dallas, Airbnb, I rent cars and all that stuff. And I'm like, what am I doing? And then with the fights getting canceled back to back, it was a cluster, man. I can't tell you how unmotivating it was to be training, not knowing what's going to happen. The fights were pulling out. And then there's financial part where I'm paying for that and I'm paying for this. And, of course, everyone is just going out of their mind because, it's a pandemic or whatever. But the genius thing I didn't quit. And, of course, having the right people like my coach, I called him. I remember having a broke-down moment. I was like, hey, man, I can't do this. I'm checking out. And he's like, son, you're going to look back at this and you're going to laugh. And you're going to be glad you didn't quit. So, obviously, you can't. So, with the right people around me, my strength conditioning coach, we had to hide to train because the cops are like, you got to stay home and all that bullshit. So, we locked the gym lights off and trained in the dark and all that stuff. And during those times, man, it was a motivator. He built me. I went to a dark place, sat down with some demons, and got to know him. But it's growing, man. And unfortunately, a lot of the media don't see that part. Which, again, it's not for them to see. It kind of sucks that most of the media focus on what they need to see, which is the dramatic side of it, because it sells, and I get it. But every one of these fighters out here, man, they're fighting for something. I know I'm fighting for my life when I go out there, I'm one of the veterans. So what that means is there's a lot of up-and-comers coming in, a lot of new blood. And the vets, man, they better keep their shit together or else it might be time. So, yeah, I'm fighting for my life when I go out there. He has a taste for it. He had a taste for the strap. I'm trying to get a taste, too. That's what it's all about. We're lions in a room filled with lions, and we're all just chasing that gazelle. Right now, Izzy got that gazelle, and we're all chasing that motherfucker. That's it. It's business.
And we've talked many times about how that Izzy fight is the dream fight for you. Seeing him lose for the first time, I know that's probably not the style in which you would think of beating him the way Jan did, but did that take anything away from that fight for you? Now you can't be the first guy to beat him.
Yeah, right. He didn't really lose. He just ran out of time. But whatever. The game is changing, man. You can beat someone up and they can hold you for 5 seconds and they win. It's weird. I don't know who's giving these refs or judges, I want to say judges, lessons. I'm like, what? Who's educating these guys? But I'm not focused on that, man. He took a risk. He went up. I thought he would have fought Jones, but he fought the 205 champ, and he took a risk. And there's reward in risk. And for him, I'm sure it's a learning experience for what he's got to go back and build for his own, because that's his own story, man. I don't focus on everybody's story. Everybody got their own story. I eventually would love to fight him, but it's more from a competitive standpoint. It has nothing to say, F you, you suck. Do I think he's great? Absolutely. But I'm very competitive. I'm the type of guy, I'll play video games. You'll beat me 1,000 times. I'm like, I just need one, So I just want to go up against that style because I know that style. But to get there, I got to play the game. I got to play the politics. It's like, all right, whoever the UFC needs me to beat, whoever the UFC thinks can beat me, the honor is fading out. And I'm starting to understand that because I'm old school. So it's about business, it's about money, it's about capitalizing on all that. And I get it. Doesn't mean I have to be a part of it accordingly. But at the end of the day, I get to be me. I have my goal. I know what I want. Everyone is different. I'm not here to say, screw you, you suck, you're too short, whatever. Do your thing. Make it on your way. But I know what I want, and I know where I got to be. That's it.
And last thing from me, you win this fight, it would be back-to-back wins over two of the greatest middleweight champions in UFC history. Where do you think that puts you in terms of the title picture?
I mean, I don't know where that would put me. I don't even know who's in charge of the ranking system. Who's in charge of the ranking system? Panel? Really? A bunch of people just sit around the room and say you're numbered. Wow, okay. So I don't know how that works. I don't believe in it. I think it's bullshit, but whatever. But I guess it's wherever I'm ranked. I just got my mind fixated on the top guy. If they want to throw me some wolves in the top 5, that's what I exactly want. But, styles make styles. I don't want to go out there with someone hugging me. I want to punch someone in the face. But unfortunately, it's a part of the game. And that's what makes it so interesting, because guys are coming out there with great jiu-jitsu skills, great kickboxing, and that's what I love about MMA. I retired from kickboxing to do this. I was undefeated, but I got bored because I'm very creative. And of course, I had some wins and some losses, but I'm still growing, man. I feel like I'm Benjamin Button. I'm going backwards. I'm definitely handsome as fuck, but I'm going backwards.
Thanks, Uriah.
Oh, yeah, Uriah. How big a deal is it to put on a show on Saturday? Or is it just about getting your hand raised, regardless if it's a technical fight or anything like that? Or you just want to get the win, or do you want to get a win and put on a show?
Man, that's a great question. I don't really focus too much on that because, to me, I've never fed off the crowd. I've never, and no offense or anything, I just never fed off a bunch of crowd. I know we're modern-day gladiators, but I'm not going to go out there and use it. I've never had to. But I guess, from a business standpoint, it's great to have the crowd back and everything, the environment. It's almost like getting out of that norm of wearing a mask. Now we're kind of getting back to this original norm, so I get it, but I don't feed off of it.
And of course, you're a prize fighter. You fight for prize and money. But at least my question, what do you think when you see somebody that's not a trained fighter getting 1.3 pay-per-view buys and making more money than you that's not trained like you?
Man, thank you for bringing that up. Here's what I really think. At the end of the day, it's a great business move, but it's just a disappointment too. Some people are selling out. I get it. Because I remember watching that or even hearing about it going, I'm working my ass off, literally dying. This motherfucker just comes out there, says a couple of shit, and I know what he's doing. Let's be honest, the guy sucks. He sucks. He really sucks. And look who's picking. So I get it, from a business standpoint, a YouTube fighter going out there or a YouTube person just going out there, and people are feeding off that because you have people that hate him and you have people that love him, but you still got to watch him. It's genius. But at the same time, it's like it humiliates what I call real athletes that really put in the time. And I know guys behind me not even making that much. I know guys out there that aren't making much than the ring card girls.
So if he come knocking on your door, you and Coach Safe's door, wants you to be his next Ben Askren, what do you tell him?
I say, I'm going to knock you the fuck out and thank you for the opportunity. That's it. Because we all know I would kill him. I would tell him this. I would tell him, bro, I would literally beat you with one hand. You don't deserve my right hand. And I will do it for free. That's how confident I am.
Right, over here, other side. Were you at Tiger Schulman's your first time you fought Chris?
Oh, yeah, that gym. Yeah, I was there a long time ago. That was years ago. Yeah.
Was there any rivalry in the build-up to that fight? Because I know like the Northeast MMA scene's have some good rivalries between the gyms.
I wasn't too familiar with the rivalry thing. I just knew that at the time where we were at, you know, especially with gyms, there's always going to be that we're better than you, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I was young in the sport, of course, but here's the thing, man. I'm from New York. He's from New York, but he's from Long Island. A lot of New Yorkers, I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble for this, we didn't count Long Island as New York. It's like, all right, you're part of the borough, bro. We got you. It's like Long Island, they call it. But I get it. And every time I go to Long Island, I've always had bad experiences. It's like, yo, what's up with these assholes, man? It's like, all right, whatever. But I guess that kind of brought some rivalry or whatever you want to call it. I just remember the night when we went out there. A lot of his guys were just, you know, that macho-ness. I'm like, who are these T-shirt wearing motherfuckers, you know? But whatever. I was young in the sport. I was a little distracted, and he got the best of me that night. But well, I guess we don't like Long Island. I don't know. I don't care now.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And New York is Queens, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx. Not upstate. That shit don't count.
Fair.
That's where the buffalo roams.
And then you gave an interview with my colleague Mike Heck where you got into pretty detailed about like your inner demons and having, I think it was, you phrased it as you had a conversation with little Uriah. And it seemed to resonate with a lot of viewers, like they really resonated with that conversation. Did you get any feedback from fans or fighters after that talk?
Yeah, I actually got a lot of messages, surprisingly. I actually got a bunch of mails, too, that was sent to Fortis MMA. You know, I mean, I get a great platform to talk about real stuff, and regardless of, you know, whatever the media wants to use and post, I get to be me. And I look at it this way. There's somebody out there that probably needs some type of message that I'm going to say at that given time. I think 2 or 3 fights ago, my sister almost committed suicide, and the build-up for that fight was probably one of the hardest things I ever went through because I grew up with my little sister, and she's not little, and I just remember my mom, you know, she kind of found her, and it was just a horrific experience, and this was like maybe a week before the fight, so I couldn't be there. I wanted to, and damn, you just had to get me with this. And it was a tough time, man, and I was just happy that she came out of it, and she's in a really, really, really great place, and I just had to kind of remind her of who she was and how she inspired me. And man, she finished school. You know, she got a bunch of opportunities. She was on the Kelly Clarkson show the other day, and I was just like, man, I'm just so glad you're still here. And, you know, depression is something that a lot of us go through, man, and nobody wants to talk about it. I've been depressed. Last year, I was so depressed. You have no idea, man. I was like, I'm done with this shit. And if you don't have the right people, man, if you can't really even talk about it, it just builds to this thing where it takes you to a place and makes you do things you probably would regret. And for me talking about it, and I guess I hit home with a lot of people who are actually going through it, makes me say, wow, you know, it's bigger than I thought. It wasn't just her situation. It's really big. I mean, we mask it so well. Look at Robert Williams, man, and Happiest Dude Alive. I was like, wait, that guy was depressed? So you never know, man. You just never know. And as hard as it is to be nice, it's really hard to be nice. You got to try. Because you might get up and go to Starbucks, and that dude's just having a shit fit of getting your coffee. Like, what's wrong with this motherfucker? I don't know, maybe he, you know, lost his home and something has affected him for him to lash out that way. So it's important. It's hard, but it's a challenge I think a lot of people should try to do. Just try to be nice, which is to listen, to understand, and not listen to reply, because everyone just always got something to say. Just listen to understand. Everybody's different. Just try to understand. How about that? How about you just shut the fuck up and just listen to understand. We don't always have something to say, and that's the problem. Sorry, I went off a little bit. Got deep.
You had also said that in the past you would respond to people on Twitter being like, "Send me location." You still doing that?
I've toned it down a little bit on the whole send me location, DMX said a beautiful quote. I posted it. He's like, you got to expect people for who they are. Expect a snake to be a snake. Expect a snake to bite you. That's what a snake does. So expect these people to be who they are. Expect the media to be the media, whether it's good or bad, because any media is always going to be exposure. Expect, and if you expect it, then it shouldn't affect you. Obviously it will, because as human beings, we're sensitive, man. If I look at you and be like, man, what the fuck are you writing? This shit is trash. Like, why are you doing this? Yeah, it's going to cause a slight effect because you're putting your work into this. You don't want someone to tell you and look at your work that it's terrible. Hopefully it's like constructive criticism to build you. And another quote I read the other day too, is like when we were kids, babies, right? You're like, come on, you can walk, right? Come on, stand up, buddy, you got this. And the whole world is right behind you. Nobody doesn't have to know who you are, but you see a baby trying to get up. It's like, come on, you got this. But it's totally different as an adult. Yeah, you shouldn't do this. Yeah, man, that 9 to 5 is better. You might want to stop. You should quit this career. As adults. So it goes back to the psychological warfare.
Uriah, over here. Over here.
Yep.
Uriah, you obviously got in the UFC by getting through the Ultimate Fighter, and they just announced the season 29 coming up here. Just curious, what are your thoughts on the Ultimate Fighter continuing to go? Do you like the format? Just remembering your experience on it and everything.
First of all, this guy got some swag. I like this dude. Look at that.
Thank
You know what that means? It means I took time to prepare myself. That's fucking, I respect you. I think that's so important these days to take some time to fucking put into yourself. You're the fucking man.
Appreciate it.
And to answer your question, yeah, I saw a little preview. One of my dreams is absolutely teach the Ultimate Fighter. I think that I would be a great asset to that. What Chael did for me in that time, man, it couldn't have been any more remarkable. I think at the given time where I was, I was young, I was hungry, I was homeless. So I bought a one-way ticket going out to Vegas saying, this is it. I didn't even know how I was going to make it back. That's how important it was to me. And over 800 people tried out. I ended up being one of them. And, I did my due. It didn't turn out to the ending results. But, man, that whole time gap was exactly where I needed to be. I was uncomfortable, and I got comfortable with it. I realized at some point it's not called the Ultimate Fighter. I'm sorry, not the Ultimate Friends. It's the Ultimate Fighter, because after that Adam Sella kick, their team was scared of me. My team was scared of me. And you're in a house with nothing else to do, There's no outside activity. I mean, the only outside you got is the yard. You can't go outside and open the gate and take a walk. You got the gym. It's a pressure cooker, and it's just training constantly. There's alcohol. There's all these temptation. There's cameras walking around. It's a clusterfuck. And at maybe the week 4, I got, you know what? Let me zone in on this and take the advantage. And, man, it was such a great experience. I would do it again, to be honest. I think it was a great experience.
And you mentioned the Adam Sella head kick right there. Do you think that gets enough appreciation for, one of the greatest knockouts ever? It's a little unappreciated, I think.
You know what? It's funny. I think even the UFC posted this. They said, greatest tough kick ever? Question mark. Like, what the fuck do you think? I think it is. If you're gonna keep posting that and ask, what do you think? But I get it. It's just to have people comment and all that stuff. But hell yeah, it is, man. I mean, I feel like I'm a one-hit wonder with that. I can save a baby out of a fucking burning plane. No one will remember that. They'd be like, yeah, that's cool. But that kick you did, that's better, But hey, it's my signature. I'll take it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Uriah. Best of luck, man.
Thank you.
Hey, Uriah, what would you contribute most to your 3-fight win streak?
Who did I beat? Bevon, right? Bevon Lewis. I forgot the last 3. Carlos, Antonio Carlos Jr., Bevon Lewis, and Anderson. So what would I contribute to it? Those 3 fights were different. I think the Bevon Lewis fight, I was in, I found my sister that week, and she was all messed up. So, I was a little bit out of my head, and I got in my head and fucking knocked him out. the Antonio Carlos Jr. fight, he was a friend of mine, and it was weird. And I remember making a decision. We were in Sweden in some type of weird underground place. I'm not going to talk about that. But I made a decision with my coach, and he was like, I think you should take this guy. And I was like, I don't like fighting my friends, but all right. And the thing is, I didn't know Antonio Carlos Jr. was a world champion, and I had no idea. If I had known, it probably would have fucked with me a little bit, but I didn't know. And, it made it a little easier because we knew each other, but it was just business, and, of course, we were all hugging and stuff. There was a moment we were hugging, like, a couple of days before the fights, and my coach was looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you hugging this guy every second? I'm like, oh, we're buddies. But Anderson was probably, man, just leading up to that fight, even the night before, I didn't even sleep. I was just like, this is actually happening. This is happening. I remember standing on my buddy's roof looking at this guy. Now I'm actually going to be in front of him. It's a clusterfuck. But, yeah, we went out there. I tried to stick to the game plan as much as I could. The thing a lot of people didn't realize, man, Anderson is tricky. It might have not looked like much, but that dude was doing so much. His range was so perfect. I felt like he was setting me up because every time I was jabbing him, he just moved just at the right distance. I'm like, this mofo is trying to catch me with something. So I had to switch, and then he switched. So that, what you guys saw of nothingness was a lot of shit. And I think by like round 3, I had to kind of mix it up, and round 4 it ended up happening. But, you're only good as your last fight, they say, right? But it's up to that person to realize how good he is. It's not for everyone else who's watching. It's what you can see, but every fight is different, man. Every fight is different. So I take what I can from that, and I just move forward amicably so I can grow. It's all about growth.
And last one from me. What do you think defeating Chris Weidman right after defeating Anderson Silva does for your stock in this division?
Stock, I still have those. Stock. I never thought about the stock thing, but I think it's just, I fought him years ago. I guess it'll look good on my resume. I haven't thought that far ahead, to be honest. I just think that he's in my way to get to where I need to be. I was looking for someone else. They gave me him, so I had to switch my mindset. And, yeah, win over him would, be a little more satisfying because he was the first guy to give me my scar. So, yeah.